economic challenges this country has ever faced. And we've sent a clear message to America, to all America, that we will not let this economy fail. This is not a perfect bill by any means, we all know that. But it's much improved from what we got originally. And it's been improved because we have worked together. This is not a Democratic bill. It's not a Republican bill. It's our bill. It will help stabilize our economy. It will protect people on those little side streets all across America and those main streets across America. This is not a piece of legislation for Lower Manhattan. It's legislation for all America. And, by the way, it cuts taxes for middle-class America in many different ways. It creates jobs here at home. Now, the American people have a right to be frustrated with the economic crisis that they face, and we share that with them. But inaction is not an option, which is why we've worked expeditiously and in a bipartisan manner to stop a bad situation from getting even worse. It's my expectation the House of Representatives will follow suit. We all understand the process hasn't been easy, but passage of a responsible answer to the crisis is now in sight. I want to take this time to express my appreciation to my counterpart, Senator McConnell. We worked together for the good of the country. I am so impressed. Having been in Washington 26 years, it's hard for some to comprehend, I guess, that there are people who are more impressive each time you work with them. And that's Chris Dodd. And each day that we worked on this crisis together, I being his lieutenant, he was out front on this, has been every day a day of my being more impressed. I've stated on the Senate floor on many occasions how much I appreciate Judge Gregg. We disagree on lots of things, but the one thing we don't disagree on is his being a great representative for the state of New Hampshire. I appreciate very much having been able to work with him. The input of the Finance Committee, Senator Baucus, has been something that I will always recognize and remember. And of course, the work of Senator Conrad, who is our money man on the Democratic side, has been exemplary. Senator McConnell.
Well, thank you, Harry. This has been the Senate at its finest. In the years that I've been here, I can't recall a single time where, in this close proximity to an election, both sides have risen above the temptation to engage in partisan game playing, if you will, to address an issue of magnitude, great magnitude. The fact that Senator Obama and Senator McCain were here tonight and also played a constructive role in this process is also quite significant. You know, one of the things that I run into all the time in my state and across the country is people say, why can't you folks ever get along and do anything together for the country? Well, I wish we could do that more often, but we clearly have demonstrated in the toughest possible situation, 5 weeks from an election, that we can come together and address a major crisis. As my friend the majority leader has indicated, this was a measure for Main Street, not for Wall Street. This was a measure that was much needed to unfreeze the credit markets and get America's economy working again. I also want to express my gratitude to my old friend Chris Dodd for his work on it, and particularly Senator Judd Gregg, who I designated as our negotiator, who did a brilliant job of representing the interest of my conference. And frankly, I don't think we would be here tonight without the magnificent work of Senator Gregg. So this is an important occasion for our country. We have much to be proud of. This doesn't entirely solve the problem, but it begins to move us in the direction of getting the American economy back where it needs to be very soon.
Well, let me a couple of things. First of all, let me thank our leadership, because I think it's the tone that brought us to this vote this afternoon gets set by the leadership. And if that tone is working in the right direction, a lot of good things can happen. And the tone set by the Majority Leader Harry Reid, his invitation to Mitch McConnell to be a part of this, and then, of course, asking myself and Judd Gregg to lead the effort here along with our other colleagues who played very important roles, made it possible for this moment to come. So I begin by thanking them for creating that tone. I'd be remiss as well if I didn't also thank other people who are critically important in all of this. Kent Conrad, certainly, and Max Baucus were invaluable. Jack Reed and my committee, Chuck Schumer, played a very important role, as well as the House leadership. I know they're not done yet, but Barney Frank did a great job, as well as, of course, the Republican leadership on the side of the House. I know we're working at all of this. The statistics and the things we're talking about, obviously, the credit crunch and talking about the numbers, what's happened on Wall Street, the Dow moving around every day, what the credit markets are doing, all of these statistics that people are mentioning, the effects of this on Wall Street, foreclosures. But there's something even more profound and more serious about today than all of these numbers and statistics which are bandied about. And it's the most important thing that we can do as a Congress, and that is to restore America's confidence and its optimism and its belief that their institutions of government can respond in a moment like this. Maybe more than anything else we've done today, my hope is that that sense of confidence and optimism and belief that America can be back on its feet again. We can solve this problem and offer that sense of hope that tomorrow can be a better day. We haven't done it all here, obviously. There are a lot of things to come. There's not going to be a blossoming tomorrow afternoon or Friday with the economy. We've got many, many difficult months ahead to get this right. But none of that could happen without the decision today. And so the journey in front of us is going to be difficult and long. But I think America tonight, I hope, saw Congress, saw a United States Senate acting in the way that our forebears and the founders intended it to act. And I'm deeply proud to have been a part of this moment.
Good.
Well, the ground's been covered, but let me add to it a little bit. It was a pleasant and extraordinary experience to participate in this effort to address a crisis which the American people are about or were about to confront, and which we hopefully have alleviated to a significant degree. It came about because the institution of the Senate stepped up in a mature and responsible way under the leadership of Senator Reid and Senator McConnell and said, we are not going to allow partisanship. We are not going to allow differences which are real and substantive to divide us in this effort to pull together and come up with a solution to a problem which we all recognize is critical and which, if it isn't addressed, will lead to severe disruption of the lives of all Americans, especially those on Main Street. I have to hold out special thanks to Chris Dodd. He was the chairman of this exercise. He chaired the committee, the meetings we had. He was always fair. He was always open. He heard everybody's opinions, and he pushed us towards resolutions which would allow us to come out of the room knowing that all the concerns had been addressed. And interestingly enough, in this effort, they were addressed in a very positive way, and I don't think anybody left that room not feeling that we had improved the bill and that the issues which they were sent there for their constituencies had been effectively resolved and moved forward. Senator Baucus put an idea on the table early on that helped a lot on one of the most critical issues, which was how we deal with excessive compensation. So his role was also critical. On our side of the aisle, Bob Corker and Bob Bennett played an immense role in basically being the support for the efforts in the negotiations. So, you know, this is the way government's supposed to work, folks, and it did. And I think we can take a little pride in that. Thank you.